A lot of people ask me, what do you do with somebody who just doesn't get it? How do you get them switched on? Make them understand that the end is nigh, we must prepare. Well, I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of people about this. One of the issues that people run into is not that whoever they're trying to convince won't agree that it would be a good thing to be prepared. They're so overwhelmed by it, or they think that there's just no way to survive, that they ought not to do anything at all. Now, my base instinct is to say coward, weakling, lazy logic. However, I think it goes deeper than that. And I think it's good that we don't operate from positions of base instinct. Because I think that there's a strong psychological issue at play here. And that's that people just don't want to confront the uncomfortable idea that somebody might punch their ticket and there's not much they can do about it. But if there was something you could do about it to increase your odds, wouldn't that be worth doing? That's the subject of today's video. Increasing your odds for SHTF. Now, I had a conversation about this with another radically famous YouTube star named Brother Travis over at the Set Apart Homestead. And I'm not sure if he's done a video on it yet or not. I will need to check. But we agreed it would be a good idea if we both tackled this subject from two different angles. So I would encourage you to go check out the Set Apart Homestead. Set Apart Homestead. You'll see a dude about my size, but with a beard about yay long. Yeah, gigantor beard. So, increasing your odds. Isn't it worth increasing your odds at the very least? If there's steps you could take, like having food, having armor, walking around with a gun on your hip, I mean, why wouldn't you? Well, it's uncomfortable. It's not easy. No, it's not easy, but it's simple. There's simple things like have food, have weapons, know how to use them. And that's a key part. Know how to use them. Form relationships with people. Not, and people misunderstand me when I say community, that they think that we all have to be hanging out around the fire pit, strumming acoustic guitars, holding hands, swaying back and forth and singing Kumbaya together. That's total BS. That's lazy logic. Now, if you're into that, if that's your thing, go for it. Who am I to judge? But that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is communities like, hey, I got to clear this lot to put my trailer on. We'll be there Sunday. Boom, done, 3 hours. Or, whatever. Let's get together and train today. Well, what are we going to train? OPSEC, bro. You know what I mean? Let's get together and hang out. The old school barn raisings. We all live within proximity to one another, but we're not up each other's butts all the time. When I need you, I'll come see you, and likewise, okay? But having that available to you, getting your medical skills up, learning useful old world skills, learning to keep the old ways. Isn't it worth increasing your odds? Or do you just roll over and die? Or do you just lay on your back and expose your soft underside and just let somebody tear your throat out? it's also not fair to the people who are doing the preparing to be saddled with the burden of people like that aren't willing to take personal responsibility for themselves, their own well-being, just farm it out to somebody else. I did a video early on here called "I'm Coming to Your House." How many of us have heard that as preppers, survivalists, self-reliant individuals? Well, if the balloon goes up, I'm just coming to your house. No, you're not. Well, yeah, you got all this stuff. You're not welcome here unless you contribute. Tough love, bro. I mean, it's not fair to those of us who are putting in the work on the front end to carry the dead weight of people who willfully turn a blind eye to the fact that the balloon is very likely to go up at some point. And I think it's worth making the argument with those people, hey, wouldn't you like to increase your odds? There's a reason that they put, life rafts and life preservers on ships, just in case, right? There's a reason you have insurance on your automobile, just in case. Well, and also because the state mandates it. That's nice. Homeowners insurance. You might need it. Life insurance. I mean, what's better real world life insurance than the ability to sustain your life through preparedness, no matter what comes down the pike? So, in regards to increasing your odds, yeah, you ought to. And I guess where I want to land on this is the concept that we can buy all the gear in the world. I can have literal tons of food. There's a field mouse right there. Should we shoot him? Man, he's fast. Just whoosh. I can have all the things, right? All the things. If I don't know how to use them, what good is it to me? So I would encourage you to weaponize your mind. Train your mind. Is a triangle bandage and a stick better than a cat tourniquet? No. Will it work? Yup. Is making a friction fire more expedient than flicking your Bic? No, absolutely not. But you may at one point find yourself without a Bic, and it would be good to know. Would I rather crawl into a 4-piece, bivvy system when it's 31 degrees outside and sleeting and zip myself up nice and tight and snuggling, or be stuffed in a 55-gallon drum liner filled with leaves and pine needles? I'd rather have the 4-piece kit, thank you very much. But if I don't, it's good to know how to do all these things, right? The beautiful thing about knowledge and skills is they go with you everywhere. It's one of the reasons I encourage young people to learn trade skills. Musashi and the 5 rings. When you see the path broadly, when you know the path, when you know the way broadly, you see the way in all things. Thank you. The ability to know what plumb, square, and level looks like matters not if you're laying concrete or framing a house or hanging windows and doors or building cabinets or setting countertops or erecting steel or whatever, felling trees. It all plays. It all plays. How you apply it matters less than the fact that you understand it and the fact that it translates. You've therefore weaponized your mind from a trade skill aspect. It's understanding how to get by with your hands, your heart, and your head. And I think as preppers, we fail to really take stock of that. We depend way too heavily on equipment. gadgetry, shiny objects. There comes a point, and this pains me to say, but there comes a point where we have too many knives, too many guns, too many pieces of web gear. You know, I don't think you can ever have enough food or enough medical, maybe not even enough ammunition. But you really need to know how to use all of it. And I feel like I've digressed quite a bit here, but really what I wanted to just land on here is that it's worth increasing your odds. If we're honest with ourselves, if we take the blinders off and look at the world around us and go, man, this is not good. What do? Do we let it just fall apart? Are we being reactive or proactive? I would encourage you to be proactive. I've said here before many a time, reaction, no. Action beats reaction every time. And of course, there's always the people in the comments that want to go, no, this one time, this guy did this thing, and he reacted fast. Cool, shoot a video on it. I will not run my mouth on my channel anymore about the brilliance of YouTube commenters, but suffice it to say, action beats reaction. It's worth increasing your odds for the end of the world as we know it. Being proactive and being just painfully honest with ourselves about what it's going to look like so that we can take steps, we can meet action with anxiety and do the things we need to do now to prepare our hearts, to prepare our hands, to prepare our minds to meet the challenge. Because at some point, right, at some point, all your canned goods are going to run out. You better know how to garden. All your buckets of rice are going to be gone. You better know how to plant row crops. You're not going to have any more meat on the shelf. You better know how to hunt food or raise livestock or scavenge or forage or fish, right? Your rule of law may be gone forever. You're going to need to know how to establish rule of law. It would be a good thing to read How to Win Friends and Influence People now. Maybe work on conflict resolution now. Maybe take a sales course so you can learn to negotiate now, or a handgun course, or how to shoot long guns, or a carbine course, or just start doing push-ups and rucking now. Well, you can, now. And I know it's not easy, but it is simple, and it is worth doing, and it is a good idea to weaponize your mind and increase your odds.